Welcome to another Motor Test Tuesday, and today we've got a bit of a different video. I'm going to have to get the motor out of this Losi LMT grave digger here. There it is. So this is the first of two Spektrum 3660 size motors I'm going to be testing. The other one's in the son of a digger, but we're going to take the grave digger one first. So you can see here we've got the motor out the truck now. The standard pinion is a 14 tooth, and you can see there's space for 16, 15, 14, 13 and 12. Here's the actual motor itself. It's a 3660, 3150 kV, and to take it out you just need to remove the you'd actually need to remove the pinion to take the motor out, but obviously I need to do that for the motor test. But it's literally just 4 screws to remove the cover, which I've got there, 3 to remove the bottom bit, 1 to remove the top bit, and then the 2 screws that go into the motor, and that's it. I've got the motor set up on the tester from the grave digger Spektrum motor. The length is 60.25 millimeters. Exactly. The diameter is 36 millimeters. Bear in mind it does have some fins here, and that is to the outside of the biggest fins. The shaft length is 18.5 millimeters. That's the length this way, and the shaft diameter is 5 millimeters, obviously. So this is a pretty standard sized motor. It'll fit in a lot of stuff, same as you get in an Armour Granite or Big Rock or Senton 3S. All the 3S line have a very similar motor to this. The braiding on the wires is the cheaper kind of braiding, not the nice insulation that you get, and the wires are very stiff and hard to bend. You can see they're holding the shape, and they're not flexible wires, which probably means you can't cut these wires down shorter. You can make them longer, but you can't make them shorter, because I'm guessing these are the winding terminations which are outside of the motor. You can see I've got it all hooked up. I've already set the motor tester for a 4-pole. I believe this is a 4-pole motor. What does it say on it? No, it doesn't. It's made in China. It's branded Spektrum. Using the usual Turnigy Nanotech 5.6 amp hour 2S for the motor tester. So let's see what the kV really is. You can see we're at storage charge there, 7.7 volts. We're just going to go all the way up to maximum. It's still going up. This motor's never been run. It's very smooth, very quiet. Seems a bit all over the place though. I'll stop it there. So you could see it was flicking between 2130 to 2180, which is, I mean, pretty much bang on what it's supposed to be, really. That's really good. I don't know the rating for the current, but it's 3.4 amps at 7.5 volts, and it did 23,554 RPM, which is very good. It was very smooth as well. So let's go on and try again. I'm going to build it up slowly this time though. Right, so building it up slowly on the second test there, we've got 3155, that is almost bang on, that's really good at 3.3 amps. Yeah, wow, does what it says on the tin, very nice. So let's have a look at the noise level. I think the noise level is really good on this, so I'll just whack it up to full. Yeah, so it's not very smooth starting up. It got to about 81 decibels. But when I'm quiet, it seems to be running about 72. Yeah, 72 to 73. So that is very, very, very smooth. Obviously, it's a fairly low kV motor, so you'd expect it to be quite quiet. It seems to be better than most of the Surpass hobby motors I've tested. So yeah, that's it for this one. This is the motor from the Losi LMT grave digger. So we'll see how consistent they are and do the one in the son of the digger next. So now I'm going to put the motor back in the grave digger. Just put the pinion back on with a bit of thread lock. You only need a tiny bit of blue thread lock on the pinion gear because the screw is extremely small. So I've got the motor back in now on the 14 tooth pinion holes, and you can see the mesh looks pretty spot on. They also just had a tiny dab of blue thread lock on as well. So next I'm going to put the covers back in and then just plug it in, and then it's good to go again. So you need to put the top half of the cover on first, and then the bottom half goes on second. Now to put the top half of the cover on, Losi unfortunately in their infinite wisdom put this green plastic bar in the way of that screw hole, but you can just bend it up out the way and then you can fit the screw in. So then you just put the lower gear case back on. You don't need to do these screws super tight because all 4 of these screws on the gearbox are going into plastic. And then finally you can just plug your motor back in. It is a little bit tricky to plug them in under there. You can take the battery tray off if you want, but I've managed to do it perfectly fine. And right, let's move on to the son of a digger motor. Right, so I've got the motor out the son of a digger here. You can see it's not in there. Another thing to note with these motors and the LMT is the pinion gears are put on extremely tight, so before you do this you might need a pinion puller if you haven't already got one. I do have a pinion puller, so I didn't really think of this, but obviously if you don't have a pinion puller you might not want to take your pinion gear off and on. It's easier to get back on obviously because you can just hit it with a piece of wood and a mallet to get it on, but pressing it off can be quite difficult. So if you haven't got one of these already, you can get one of these. I think mine was from Hobby King for like £3 or something, so it's a really useful tool, and it does help you get the pinion off if it's really hard to get off. These are really stiff because they put quite a bit of thread lock on the pinion screw, and I think they put a bit down the pinion, the hole in the pinion as well. So obviously it's the same as the grave digger, other than that you take your case off, take your motor screws out, take your pinion off, and there is the motor from the son of a digger. Obviously exactly the same, but is it really the same? We'll find out in a second. So we have the motor tester on again. Obviously same battery and the same but a different motor, if you see what I mean. The other one was from the grave digger, this one's from the son of a digger. So I haven't set the poles yet, so I need to go on 4-pole. Oops. Then we're going to go to motor KV, and I'm going to do a full speed start like last time. Hey, this one's a little better. It's also quite a bit louder. It's making a high pitched whining noise. So this one's 3200 kV at the moment, and you can see it's using 3.8 amps. So this is really interesting. This one's definitely higher kV. So the guy at the factory who built this one, obviously a son of a digger fanboy. So we'll reset that and build up slowly. This one's noticeably louder than the other one. Doesn't sound as smooth. Yeah, look at that. There you go, 3.7 amps, 3220 kV. I'll stop it there. We'll call it 3220 kV. That is very impressive. Now, to be honest, what should really be the case is that the on the back of the motor, whatever the rating is, I would say it should be plus or minus maybe 100 kV. Obviously more plus is better, to be fair, especially if you can keep within your amps that's on your spec sheet, and it's a higher kV, that means you've got a more efficient motor, so that is better. So yeah, this motor is actually slightly better than the other one. The other one did still hit its 2150 rated, or sorry, 3150 rated, but this one is doing over 3200, so that is pretty nice. You probably won't notice any difference in real life when you're actually using the motor, but it is just interesting to see that even though you're getting the same motor, you aren't actually getting the same motor. They're all slightly different, as with a lot of things, real cars, and they do have tolerances on these, and this one just happens to be slightly faster. So let's see the noise level. I think this one's louder. It's interesting. So the decibel meter says it's about the same, but it's definitely a higher pitched whine from what I'm hearing. That's probably from the bearings. I'd say the other one was a bit smoother, to be honest, than this one. So yeah, there you go. It's another Motor Test Tuesday. We've tested two of the exact same motors on the exact same day for the first time. So I hope that was interesting for you. It's also the first time we've tested a Spektrum motor. So there we go, we have the son of a digger all back together, ready to rock and roll.